terms of building a good list, this is the two route. You try and decide what kind of guard player you want to be. The first kind of guard player everyone should be is a hybrid guard player. And then you start branching out. I think it's really interesting you say you're trying to decide what kind of guard player you're trying to be. Your collection definitely reflects that. Because there's a lot of different disparate elements, but there's a lot of everything. The way I would describe your collection at the moment is there's a lot of everything, but there's not enough of anything. Like a little bit of everything, but there's not enough of one. It's better to whole ass a few things than half ass many things. And so what we're trying to do with your collection is we're trying to homogenize it. We're trying to standardize it. That will be less moving parts. It'll be less things for you to have to try and remember, less different data sheets. We're trying to get things simplified. The quote GW, we want simplified and a bit simple, to be honest. So I'm going to give you two broad lists. I'm not two rough lists, okay?
We are going in with the first wave.
The first one is hybrid guard. In a hybrid guard list, you want to be looking at having, I would say, 100 battle line bodies, 5 big blobs of infantry. Doesn't really matter what they are. Cadians and Kriegers preferable. Katachans are good as well. But you want to have 100 battle line bodies. If you're in combined arms, you can get away with 80. And one of your blobs you use reinforcements on it. That's mandatory. You don't have to, but I'm telling you, you don't have to rules-wise, but I'm telling you have to use reinforcements. That'll get you 20 guys back. That'll get you your 100 bodies. You want to have 100 bodies, one way or another, and we're not talking, that's not including officers. We're talking just straight battle line bodies. You want 100 bodies. Then you want to have enough orders for those bodies. Simplest way of getting enough orders for 4 to 5 squads is taking Creed and a command squad and attaching it to one of those blobs. That'll give you the ability to basically order pretty much all of them. Then you want to have 4 to 5 tanks. I'd either say 1 Rogel Dawn and 3 Leman Russes, or 5 Leman Russes. Now what I would do is I would take a tank commander. I would personally go for 2 tank commanders and then 2 other tanks. Now that could be a Leman Russ tank commander and a Rogel Dawn tank commander and then 2 other Leman Russes, or that could be 2 Leman Russ tank commanders and 3 other Russes. After that, you want some artillery. You want 2 pieces, no more, no less. 2 pieces of artillery. Either, and with your collection, you don't have to buy anything here. I would say 1 artillery team, 1 field ordnance battery. 2 pieces. And then you want an officer who can just sit next to them and just order them. A Canadian Castellan is a great option for that. And then, so you've got your 4 to 5 tanks, you've got your 80, you've got your 100 infantry with orders, you've got your artillery, and then very simply, you want to have 1 to 2 scout sentinels, and 1 commissar or scion squad that goes in reserves. Okay, now that might not come to exactly 2,000 points. It might be a little bit under, it might be a little bit over, but the point is that's the broad brush. So I always say this: you want the 4 pillars, and every guard list is built upon the 4 pillars: a big infantry corps, a strong tank corps, seasoned with artillery, and a pinch of secondary game. Your infantry corps in a hybrid guard list is those 80 to 100, well, it's not even 80 to 100, it's those 100 bodies. Your infantry corps is going to be doing screening and is going to be dumping objective control onto objectives. Your tank corps are your damage dealers. They're the ones that are going to be, when the opponent comes out to try and push your infantry off the objectives, that's where your tank corps counter hits them. You've heard me say this before. Well, maybe not you, Jason C. I don't know how many of my videos you've watched, but veterans of this channel will tell you. I always say the same thing. The guard gets hit hard, but we hit back even harder. How do we hit back even harder? Cheap, potent tanks. So your infantry takes the hit. You hit back with the damage dealers. Typically, Leman Russes are very cheap and very effective at doing that. Then you season with artillery. Now, you don't want too much artillery, because artillery it's had a lot of nerfs recently, and it's just that all your artillery is there to do is to harass the enemy's backfield. You talked about having something like going to deep strike so that not everything in the world can come forward. Here's another way of doing it, because deep strike can be screened out. You know what can't be screened out? Indirect fire. If you take a couple of artillery pieces, you could just keep pounding your opponent's home objective, and so they're then forced to think about, what the fuck else am I going to put on there? Or are they going to abandon it? If they do abandon it, this is where your secondary game comes in. Your 1 Commissar, your 5 Scions. Because even if they sticky that home, let's say they put a bunch of like jackals on it or something, or whatever it is, they sticky the home objective. After a turn or two, you blow them off that objective. If they've pushed everything forward, do you know what you do? Deep strike 5 Scions on it. It's not sticky anymore, motherfucker. Not sticky anymore. So that forces your opponent to either bring stuff back, or they commit to the push forward, which is a very risky strategy. So the 4 pillars: infantry corps, tank corps, seized with artillery, a pinch of secondary game. That's the key. That's the key to any good guard list. We can apply the same 4 pillars to a mech guard list. Mech guard, your infantry corps, instead of being 100 bodies, could be 50 bodies. But each one of those battle line squads is inside a chimera. Then you still have your tank corps, as described, 4 to 5 tanks, still have a pinch of artillery, still have a pinch of secondary game. Now, the one thing, now we've talked about secondary game in terms of like deep striking down and doing things like stealing home objectives and doing things like secondary, like behind enemy lines and establish locus. There is another part of the secondary game. This is where that sentinel comes in that I mentioned. Having a sentinel, which is 55 points with scout, can just push out onto the objective early and claim it, is a great thing. Because if you draw a card like extend battle lines, you want to push forward, but you don't necessarily want to expose your whole army. So 55 points out, get that secondary. If the opponent then doesn't come and kill you, well, then you've got a sentinel sat on an objective that's going to keep scoring your primary. So that's how you want to be thinking about things. The 4 pillars. And that's really, if you build your list with that in mind, and this is all, when I'm talking about this kind of stuff, I'm talking about you working towards this over 3, 6, 9, 12 months. You know, whatever time period it may be, whatever hobby time you've got to dedicate towards it. We're not talking tomorrow you'll be doing this, but this is something for you to work towards. And if you just, whenever you're building a list, you keep the 4 pillars in mind, you fundamentally can't build a bad list. You can't. And then all you have to focus on is just playing the game and getting practice. Now, there is one last thing I want to talk about, but I appreciate I'm throwing a lot of information at you. We've got the 4 pillars. That is the golden rule for building a good guard list. We also have the basics of the most basic guard tactical advice. That's the 3 lines. So the 3 lines basically describes how you're going to advance up the board, take territory, take objectives, and hold it. So the first line consists of your screening units and consists of your speed bumps, and essentially consists of the units that you expect to die first. And literally, we're talking about in deployment. This could be a front line of like conscripts. It doesn't have to be like out and exposed, but it could be the first wave going in. You call it the 3 lines, the 3 waves, we're going to call it. The first wave. Now, the first wave is expected to take 100% casualties, but its job is to screen out, and against armies like World Eaters, to take the first charge. Then you have the second line. Second line will typically in a hybrid guard list, the first line would consist of infantry. Then you have the second line. The second line consists of is about 80% sacrificial. It's going to have maybe some more infantry in there. That might be battle line infantry. That might be specialists like Kazakin. It's also going to include it can also include things like mechanized units. So the first line is like basically pure sacrificial. The second lines are 80% sacrificial. Then you have the third line. The third line consists of basically your main damage dealers. We're talking things like your Lehman Russes, maybe other specialists like Kazakin and stuff like that. The third line is expected to take minimal casualties, because what happens is your opponent comes in, hits the first speed bump, the second line moves up with fire support from the third line. Everything's constantly pushing forward. The second and third lines move up, blast that shit away. The enemy then counter punches again into your second line. You take heavy casualties, but the survivors of the second line fall back, merge with the third line, and then that third line pushes forward, punches the enemy again. And typically, because of the way a lot of Warhammer players build their list, they don't build redundancy into the list. They can't take a second counter blow. They can punch you once, they can punch you twice, but they can't punch you thrice. They tend to run out of steam. And so being able to have that third line is very, very important. And we're not talking, you don't need to imagine these in strict like lines, 3 inches behind lines. Don't think of it in literal terms. Think of it in almost like abstract terms. Like the first line is the line that's going to die. The units that you don't mind dying, they're going to be generally speaking up front. The second and third line could, in terms of your deployment zone with what space you've got, could very much be starting off deployed in the same place. But when it comes to what's actually moving forward, the second line would go ahead of the third line and create that screening. So you've got to think about the first, second, third line. And the third line is the one that's going to go overwhelm the enemy, push on objectives, and deliver the killing blow. So, long story short, obey the 4 pillars when building a list, and think about using the 3 lines when playing your games. There you go. Yeah, like lines as in action segments of the list. Exactly. And when we take the 3 lines and combine it with the 4 pillars, you see how these things lock together. So I was talking about having a good infantry corps. That infantry corps is necessary because if you don't have it, you don't have the necessary sacrificialness for the first line to be effective, and the redundancy for the second and third line to be able to do the counter punches. If you don't have the damage dealers, you don't have what you need in the third line. If you don't have the artillery, you don't have the ability to attack your opponent's backfield, and you're constantly just fighting what's in front of you. If by attacking the enemy's backfield, you start throwing your opponent off balance. This can take pressure off the second line, allowing it to only take 80% casualties, so that you can have a successful third push. So the 4 pillars and the 3 lines are the fundamental principles of collecting and playing guard. This is something that has been true, something that I have been talking about competitively for over a decade now, and it's not, I want to make something clear, it's not a flawless system, it's not a perfect system, it can't deal with every specific scenario that you're going to come across, it's not going to guarantee you're going to win a Super Major GT. What these principles are there for are to get you, as a new player who's struggling to find their way and to get the fucking teeth into this game and get a grip of it. It's to give you a bit of clarity, give you a bit of purpose, to give you something to work towards, and to give you a foundation. From that point onwards, you can add your own experience onto it, and you can tweak the tactics. You know, maybe you have 3.5 lines or 2.5 lines. Maybe you focus on 3 pillars rather than 4 for your particular meta. But it's to point you in the right direction, and to cut through all the fucking mess, because there's so much information out there about 40k, and to give you a bit of fucking oomph, and to give you a bit of a morale boost so you know what you're fucking working towards. It's to cut through the shit, basically. So yeah. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and Patreons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full-time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Alex Dengal, Bon Vert, Lord Pryor, Mark Panconi, RJ Scorpion, Swordfish Trombone, Try Again Bragg, John Stubbs, Nick Walsh, Diesel Fox, and August Barney. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.